Ready?
Good.
All right. So, our purpose today is not to discuss the existence of alien life. In the trillions of light years of space out there, it's pure arrogance to believe that we're the only little planet with life on it, intelligent or not. We've come here today to prove to you that alien life has visited our lovely world already. We have definitive evidence. We have reports of personal encounters, many from prominent people. We have real published news articles reporting on actual public events. We have renowned scientists publishing papers on the subject, someone you may know and have heard of before, Dr. Stephen Hawking. We even have an insurance company willing to fork out millions of dollars in compensation money to alien abduction victims. And we have U.S. government departments dedicated to preparing us for such invasions. Why would they do that if they haven't already discovered proof of their visits? You may laugh, you may not believe, but by the end of this debate, you will see that there is nothing funny about this. It is true and undebatable.
Why are you
Stop.
50 seconds.
No, I thought you did really good on that one.
Your guys' turn.
Sounds good. Well, UFOs are real. Aliens aren't real. Witnesses are unreliable these days. Never know what they could have. They could be crazy, paranoid. Like Stephen Hawkins. Pictures, videos. What do you see? A blurred object that has light in them. Doesn't mean it's a UFO. So after this debate, we're going to be laughing at you. Go ahead.
Even if alien life is proved to exist, it would be near impossible for any life to come and visit us. Space, as you may not have realized, is absolutely huge. You not travel space in the time that it takes one to travel from here to Calgary. A 2-hour trip from here to Calgary is like equivalent to 2 million years in space. Alien life would not be able to reach us, and why would they?
We're good. 40 seconds left. Do you want to use it?
No, we're good.
Okay.
4 minutes. Go.
2 a.m. Los Angeles. Air raid sirens blare across the city as an object is spotted on the U.S. military's radar. Soldiers man their battle stations, and searchlights light up the sky. They lock onto a single slow-moving object and open fire. The anti-aircraft guns batter the object for about an hour, and with no evidence of damage after an hour, it disappears. This happened in 1942, decades before the widespread notion of UFOs and extraterrestrials among us. Witnesses suggest a single craft in the sky and not returning fire. The next day, city blocks were littered with shrapnel. Several people were hurt. 3 of them were killed by friendly fire. And all photographic evidence suggests that there's a single object in the sky and all the searchlights are focusing on it. This was an article published in the LA Times in 1942. And despite all official explanations, no real answer has been found. So something with this much evidence must be true. There's thousands of pictures and videos going to YouTube, Google Images, Netflix, the History Channel. There's hours and hours of footage and documentaries on the subject.
All right. Okay, I know we're not on like the back and forth debate yet, but you mentioned how witnesses are not reliable, but how do you explain one of the world's greatest superpowers, the American government? Okay, you're going to laugh, but they take this so seriously that you can even argue that one of the greatest presidents that they've ever had is President Kennedy, right? He was so great that he was killed. He co-founded with NASA the Office of Planetary Protection, founded in 1960. Okay, and their mission is threefold. 1, to preserving our ability to study other worlds as they exist in their natural states, 2, avoiding the biological contamination of explored environments that may obscure our ability to find life elsewhere, and 3, to ensure that we take prudent precautions to protect Earth's biosphere when other life does visit. So, I know that today, and we're not debating politics, but the American government may be doing some questionable things. But in the past, before they did questionable things, they're taken very seriously. President Kennedy, you should take him very seriously. President Reagan and Gorbachev, both. I'll read you a quote from Gorbachev so you know it's not just America. He says, "The phenomenon of UFOs does exist, and it must be treated seriously." Those two world leaders believed it so strongly that they were willing to put a pause on the Cold War if aliens actually came. Why would they publicly announce that if they were just kidding around? That's not a safe thing to do during the Cold War.
There's eyewitness testimony from people from all walks of life: farmers, pilots, celebrities, government officials, including presidents. According to Newsweek, 65% of males and 46% of females believe in aliens. This was from a poll done globally. I have a quote from we have indeed been contacted, perhaps even visited by extraterrestrial beings, and the U.S. government, in collusion with other national powers of this earth, is determined to keeping the information from the general public. That's from Victor Marchetti, former special assistant to the executive director of the CIA. Yep.
Okay, now let's make this a little bit more personal. There was a group of people who all believed that they had been abducted by aliens. And they came together, they found solace in each other, and they created a group called Heaven's Gate. Okay? And you may want to discount witnesses, but can I just finish my sentence?
Okay.
Okay, you may want to discredit like the validity of witnesses, but these people believed it so much that there was a comet coming, and 39 of them, they committed mass suicide because they believed that that is how they would get back to the aliens. So discredit people, but discredit these 39 dead people. Be my guest.
Okay, so eyewitnesses aren't reliable without video evidence or pictures, physical evidence. They have nothing to back up their thoughts. So this person or anybody trying to explain that aliens are real just by their thoughts without backup, it's just not reliable. People could have mental disorders, people could be like schizophrenic or, and believe in this stuff. So,
Even with video and picture evidence, that is not always conclusive. If it's not a clear picture, you don't really know what's actually there. As well, what are you showing them?
That's an imprint in the snow.
what do you think that is? What do you think that is? First guess.
It looks like snow.
No, it's not.
What is it? Is it new?
No. It's fashioned out of bread, chicken, and blood. And for everyone to see. What do you think that looks like? No, it's live.
Anyway,
About 2.5 minutes.
one of the examples that you used, the incident in 1942, keep in mind that was height of World War II, height of Japanese aggression. Everybody was expecting an attack on the U.S. mainland, one that thankfully didn't happen. What is more likely is someone saw a cloud late at night that looked suspicious. Someone, a very paranoid military commander, overreacted. They do that. They do that a lot. Someone who probably never went to war but was expecting one to arrive at their city. So he told everyone to open fire, and it turned out to be nothing. It happens all the time.
There's also a book written by Erich von Däniken, and it's called The Chariots of the Gods. He used this is a book about alien life, and that he believes in aliens, and that he used this iron pillar as proof there was extraterrestrial life. So Von Daniken says the iron pillar had no rust on it, and no one had a clue how it was created. Do you see rust? Sorry, I didn't go to it.
That's inconclusive.
Scientists were dumbfounded and thought an advanced race of extraterrestrials built that. However, the writer of this Huffington Post article, R. Buckminster Fuller, went to view this pillar, and it says it had rust on it, and it was made by indigenous Indians. So this guy, whatever he was saying in his book, was saying that was totally was wrong about aliens. They weren't real.
And bringing up Heaven's Gate and other people like that, if you're crazy enough to believe in doomsday theories and think that by committing suicide you will be reconnected with aliens, I'm sorry, but you are not sane enough to be taken seriously on any claims, let alone those of alien abduction.
Okay, 1 minute break now before the open debate.
So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. Stephen Greer quote. Maybe a little bit about this section right here. If you want to bring up any quotes, feel free to do that.
All right, when you're ready.
Okay, so I want to talk about a few points that you made. Chariots of the Gods was a work of fiction. It was appropriated by a sect of people who believe that ancient civilizations were assisted by aliens. And if you have any evidence that they weren't, I would love to see it. And the Battle of Los Angeles, another point I wanted to address was that there's many official statements, but nobody agreed on a single thing. The Navy thought it was shoddy nerves. Military thought that it was a rogue weather balloon, but nobody agrees.
Yeah, and it could be both, or if this is the military, especially
Okay, but
branches
they
of the
all
military,
they
they
all
argue about things.
saw an object and they were shooting at it and they couldn't take it down and then it flew away. So if that was a product of Japanese or German engineering, why did they not use that technology to win the war if it was something that couldn't be shot down? And it was never seen again in any of the other battles in the entire war.
If you want to see a picture of this, you could go look up the LA Times article.
Back before they had
Because it was-
Photoshop.
Because it was probably a cloud.
A cloud with moving lights that flew away. Do clouds do that? Not even today.
Clouds reflect lights that get shone on them. That is probably what people were seeing, was reflections of light. Water behaves very weird when you put light in.
Water
This is
becomes
not the first time.
bulletproof?
It wasn't bulletproof. The shots passed through, and then gravity took over, and they fell to the ground. It happens. It's called physics.
I also want to talk about the fact that you said that there's a lack of evidence. There's 3,500 cases of extraterrestrial vehicles landing and leaving physical evidence. There's over 4,000 cases of UFO craft being tracked on radar as well as by pilots.
If you're referring
And-
to crop circles as part of your evidence, every single one has been proved to be a hoax.
I'm
Every single
talking
time it
about
comes up.
physical evidence. Could be anything. Could
What
be
physical
debris,
evidence are you talking
debris,
about?
crop circles, anything that they leave behind. There's more evidence for UFOs than there are for black holes, and that's a quote from Dr. Stephen Greer, who is a trauma surgeon and
A trauma surgeon.
the
Not
founder.
a scientist, a
Let me
trauma
finish.
surgeon.
You haven't
Let
let
me
him
A
finish
guy
the
who
sentence.
works at a hospital.
Let me finish. He founded the Disclosure Project and directed several documentaries about alien abductions.
A trauma surgeon.
Yes.
You're basing your argument on those given by a trauma surgeon,
Who
not
started-
an actual
who start-
astrophysicist.
Can people not have more than one job?
He
Not
started
when
the
you're a
disclo-
doctor.
He started the Disclosure
You're
Project.
not.
Are you a
There are
doctor?
no such thing as omnidisciplinary doctors.
Are
and
you a
scientists.
doctor?
No.
So you don't know that a doctor can't have another job?
Are you a doctor?
No.
There you go.
I never said they could or couldn't. But
A
you're
trauma
discrediting.
surgeon knows as much about astrophysics as an astrophysicist knows about cooking pasta. Okay?
That
That's
is the dumbest
entirely
argument I've ever
different
heard.
things.
You're saying that astrophysicists can't make their own meals? How do they live?
Again, I want to talk about the Disclosure Project for a second. Because he founded it, he's dedicated more of his time to the Disclosure Project than he has his work in hospital. He's more focused on getting the government to admit that there's been aliens here.
So he's a bad trauma surgeon, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that.
He's more focused on UFO conspiracy theories.
Okay,
than
tell me this.
doing his job.
I am a certified cabinet maker, but now I'm doing film. Tell me that. Does that mean I can't do both? You're telling me I'm a bad cabinet maker because I am now in this class?
Well, are you doing cabinet making right now?
Yes. How do you think I'm
While in
funding
school.
my schooling?
Okay. So good, you can do that. The
You're
only-
saying that nobody else can do two jobs at once?
this is a different level. You're
Not really. Not if it is a passion and that is what takes up your time during the day.
When you're a trauma surgeon, your time during the day should be taken up by doing trauma surgery. There's
I want to get
a
us
lot of
back on
things that
track
you should
here
be
for a
doing.
second.
Yeah, let's get back
There's-
on track.
There's been ex-military and government officials that have admitted to operations to cover up extraterrestrial visitations. And the government often uses money or intimidation to keep these people quiet.
Probably all of those are frauds. Try to name some of them.
They don't want to have their names revealed because the government will track
Oh,
them
hey,
down.
anonymous sources.
People who've worked on the Manhattan Project have been told that if any secrets are disclosed, they would be given a 10-year prison sentence.
Yeah, that's standard operating procedure when it comes to any sort of government secrets.
Exactly.
I got the
Exactly.
same
You
with
just
being
proved
in
our
the
point.
military.
You just
Exactly.
It
proved our
doesn't
That's the
prove
point I'm
that they
going
have
for.
anything to actually cover up.
Are you talking about something like this? This is physical evidence that was believed to be alien.
Dude, is that BuzzFeed?
No, it's not.
10 reasons not to believe in aliens.
No, it's not. Look at the picture.
You can probably also take a quiz to see what kind of alien you are.
Open debate is over. 1 minute. Prep for your closing statement.
It wasn't Buzz. You don't know what you're talking about. This was from YouTube.
On YouTube.
YouTube.
To be fair, going by the fucking title.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the title?
Oh yeah, I want to use the quotes that we haven't used yet.
I wish I could get on commercial.
And maybe mention LDO, which is the David Lilly thing.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that yet.
I can't believe we didn't get into this one. I want to throw you in.
I'll start off.
Hail bomb.
They go. We go first.
No, they go first.
They go
No,
first.
you get the final word.
Right.
They can.
Okay. I believe the American people are entitled to a more thorough explanation than has been given to them by the Air Force. I think we owe it to the people to establish credibility regarding UFOs and to produce the greatest possible enlightenment for the project or for the subject. That was former President Gerald Ford. Now, if you want to discredit these people who, frankly, I think are kind of qualified for their jobs, presidents, people who work in the CIA, and scientists, be my guest. Discredit them all you want. However, they have mountains and mountains of evidence supporting their side of this argument. The Battle of Los Angeles being a good example of it. Roswell, Area 51. Stephen Greer and the Disclosure Project are really good examples of people who have dedicated their lives to exposing the truth, frankly. And the fact that you don't accept it is alarming.
I think that it kind of comes down to how we feel about ourselves. Most of the time, people who are too afraid to believe in the bigger picture means that they don't believe in the smaller picture yet. Like, people who are comfortable with their existence can then believe in a bigger existence. And just because somebody may not believe it doesn't mean that it's not true.
Like 20 seconds left. Do you want me to just stop?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, go guys.
First on the point, you're going to credit Donald Trump because he's president? Just saying that.
No.
We
Sounds
didn't
good.
quote Donald Trump.
You're saying as a president, you should be credited pretty highly. That's why. I still believe aliens are real. With all these photos I've seen from that were assumed to be UFOs or aliens, like that rubber doll, I still think that aliens haven't came or whatever, and Heaven's Gate is a freaking cult, and they were crazy. Like, the leader was saying they were gonna get murdered, and then they go murder themselves. I was like, that's suicide. They weren't getting murdered; they were just killing themselves. Comet Hale-Bopp is the thing that they thought that extraterrestrial thing was following the Comet Hale-Bopp, and I was like, no. Got anything to add?
No, I got nothing to add.
Good.
40 seconds.
No, I'm still laughing. There we go.
Aliens don't exist because I'm laughing.
You told me I was not going to be laughing by the end of this, but
Okay,
I'm
debate's
still
over.